9 o'clock sirens.
Air raid.
You're on.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, in the beautiful STL area. It is a Tuesday. If you can hear it in the background, it's the first Tuesday of the month. So Millstadt is testing the storm sirens. So it sounds like we got an air raid going on here. But happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone. I know it's not really a real holiday or anything like that, but it's always fun to celebrate. And this is going to be one of those weird Cinco de Mayo Taco Tuesdays where everybody's going to be doing it at a very far distance from everybody else. So just to keep with that theme, well, at least the way my mind works, this morning, my first guest is a good friend of mine, Kiwan, from Mr. Barbecue down at Mystic Oak and Mr. Barbecue Catering. So we're going to talk barbecue on Cinco de Mayo this morning, which makes complete and total sense to me. Kiwan, my friend, how are you? And welcome to the Kirk Schilling Extravaganza.
Good morning, Kirk. I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So we've got a lot to talk about here because as often I always have people send me a little bit of stuff, you know, what they would want to maybe talk about or anything like that. And Kiwan's got all kinds of good stuff to talk about this morning. So, you know, Kiwan and I went to high school together. I was joking with him earlier. And let's see, you graduated 2 years after me. So that was like 9-10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I wish we could add like that, but it was 27 years ago, class of 93, Belleville West.
Wow, so that means if I'm class of 91, that means it's like 12 years for me. Perfect. So, funny story along the way, too, is my wife Jennifer, who's actually in here, who isn't like coming on camera this morning, she's like, no way. She also met Kiwan because, what the heck was that called? Junior Achievement and stuff like that back in high school. So they knew each other and we knew each other long before the two of us met, which is probably good because people that knew me back then, she would have never wanted to be around me. So speaking of which, that early time back in high school, you know, how did Mr. Barbecue get started? That kind of developed from that a little bit, correct?
Yeah, I was in a DECA class, in a business class at Belleville West, and through the DECA program, that Mr. Nesbitt, who's one of my neighbors in the subdivision I live in, we were able to go out and work and gain credits by working instead of being in class. So at the time, I was working at the Antique House at 3701 West Main, and I'm there cooking as usual. As something that started, and some gentlemen were playing pinochle, and you know, those guys knew me because I worked in the kitchen, and they told me they wanted something different that day. And from that day, I became Mr. Barbecue. I went out on an old pit they had on the side of the building, rusted out, had to make shift and fix it up so I could do what I do. And it started from that day 30 years ago.
Wow. And that was spoken like, now also besides being Mr. Barbecue, Kiwan is a county police officer. And funny part, talking about the old Antique House is funny, but then when you came out with 3701 West Main Street. That was such a police officer answer. I love it. So that's 30 years. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit. Obviously, you didn't just jump in there and say, oh, watch me, I could barbecue. Obviously, there were some influences to that getting into that, correct?
Well, Curtis, I mean, it did just happen like that. I mean, my grandma barbecued back long before that day. I literally think it was like, you know, how they say some things are just in your bloodstream, and just, I think I just had a niche for it. I never had barbecue before at home. I never watched my grandma barbecue. I always see my mom and grandma in the kitchen, but never per se barbecuing. But it was just like in my blood from that day.
Excellent, excellent. Well, and I can personally attest to it. Your barbecue's never been in my blood, but in my stomach works very, very well, just so we know. So we're like, you know, obviously there's some, when it comes to barbecuing, it's not just, you know, a big chunk of meat and you light a fire and go. There's some work that goes to it. There's rubs, there's seasoning, things like that. There's recipes that come to that. Where did was that like stuff that you got from your grandmother, or was that stuff that you've kind of developed on your own as time's gone along?
Just stuff I kind of came up with my own. You know, like I never knew how to do pulled pork up till about probably 7 or 8 years ago. You know, watching TV, looking what people like, knowing, you know, the area I was from. So I started doing that. But, you know, I started off making snoots, doing rib tips, doing ribs, pork steaks, which is like a Midwestern thing. And then, like I said, snoots. That's just Metro East thing. I call it snoots, like caviar of the urban America. That's what I call them. And I mean, it's crazy, the snoots that we sell out at Mystic Oak. Being out in the middle of Waterloo, out in the country, I call it. People come far and near for them. So,
and not just anybody can cook a snoot. There are a lot of people that attempt to do that and fail. If you're not familiar with the cuts of meat and things like that, the snoot is exactly what you think it is. It is the pig snout. I mean, you know, we use pretty much everything around here. There's a lot of German heritage here. Animals, they get used in their entirety. There's a lot of things I don't touch. That head cheese stuff, blood sauce, I don't want nothing to do with that. But a good snoot, that is something that is spectacular.
Yeah, we sell a lot of snoots. Even the matter the meat market that I use on a daily, weekly. We literally sold them out of snoots here in the last 2 weeks. That'd be Schubert's meat market there in Millstock where I live. And Dave, who owns the place, he was like, Kiwan, we're sold out. I'm like, Dave, I need 90 pounds of snoots. He was like, I got 25. So I had to reach out to a friend of mine who's a food distributor, and he came up with some. Matter of fact, he should have me probably 180 pounds being delivered to Mystic Oak today. So,
wow, it's like mine, so they don't run out. But obviously, you should definitely do that.
I already put my order in for the week, so I'm good. So,
you're good, perfect,
yes,
perfect. So let's talk about you know, besides, you know, the ribs, pork steaks, things like that. What are some of the other things that set you apart? Because there's a lot of people.
Barbecuing can be as simple as putting a good burger together, putting a hot dog on the grill, but you have to have that passion to have the patience and have that right sauce. Because some people don't like sauce on the meat. Some people like that rub on that meat, and you got to be able to give it to them, basically. And that's what I do. I take my time.
Now, as you can tell by the picture, Kiwan is a big guy. Now, add on a bulletproof vest and everything else, and he is a monster. So we get out of the car with Beck, and both Jen and I both said, hey, you see that guy over there? You're getting ready to get your license. He's the guy that's watching out for you. And her eyes got as big as dinner plates. It was the funniest thing. It's just, if Beck sees this, she's going to yell at me for telling that story. But I just had to do that and bring that up. So let's talk. Mr. Barbecue is down at Mystic Oaks Golf Course in Waterloo, which is not far from here. That's where your base is now. And I know you. I mean, you're doing I'm assuming drive up, carry out type stuff right now because you can't have anybody
hydrate because I didn't expect it to be that hot. And I hope everybody understands that some people did get upset that they weren't able to purchase my delicious barbecue, but sometimes you just got to take a minute and take care of yourself to take care of everybody else. I am going to do another remote barbecue on May 16th at TR's place. Those customers who think Waterloo is so far away from Belleville, come out and have the option to purchase. We're going to do pork steaks again. We're going to do ribs again, and we're going to have snooster as well as sides. But once we're out of this COVID and this quarantine era, we will be back up and running. And if you need and want catering or have that event you need a venue for, reach me at 618
something like that. Let me tell you something. There is not an easier group of people to work with doing an event. So obviously we're not having major events right now, but they will come back, and you should definitely make sure. I believe Papa Bear's got all that information coming up on the screen, but then when this goes up on Facebook and all that, we'll get make sure that information is on there as well. An event or something like that that's just a crazy kind of off the wall story about something that took place, something that happened. That's called putting you on the spot.
It really is called putting me on the spot. Even here at work, like when we go out to lunch, my coworkers, they're always like, you know everybody. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, I literally, my ultimate goal, and I've just kind of made it an ultimate goal, is to make Mr. Barbecue, it's a name. It's kind of a nickname for me. It is a nickname for me. I'm with family, and next thing I know, I hear yelling, "Hey, Kiwan!" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, I'm down in Herculean, Missouri, probably for the first or second time in my life, and some random cars on 55 South, and here it is, somebody down here knowing me as well. So
nice. Well, the license plate kind of tips it off, just a little bit. Tells everybody that it's you,
Absolutely.
All right.
I've had those license plates since I was 16 too.
I know. It was always easy to find. That's for sure.
Right.
So one of the things, obviously, we don't know when this whole quarantine situation is going to end. What's going to change? It just kind of every day seems like it's something different. But I want you all to make sure that you keep it in mind. Waterloo is not that far away. I do this all the time on here. People get scared about crossing rivers and like going over different roads, different highways. Waterloo is not far away. Some people think it's like the other side of the planet. It's really not that far away. Get down there to Mystic Oaks Golf Course. Call in your order. They'll have it ready for you. You go drive up, pick it up, take it home, fall in love with it. Let's see. You said it was May 16th, correct, at TR's place?
Correct.
Okay, so May 16th at TR's place, which that is about 5 miles that way. That doesn't really help anybody, but about 5 miles that way from where I'm sitting right now. It's actually kind of like right in between where you and I are. But
right, exactly.
Starting at noon, Kiwan's going to be out there. You called it a remote cook? Is that what you called it? Remote cook. That sounds fabulous. So starting at noon, it's running noon to 6. If you go there at 5 o'clock, he's not going to have anything left. You need to make sure and get there much earlier than that. Plus, his barbecue heats up fabulously later on. So buy extra. It's okay. Cool to do that. Let's see. So you've got.
And Kirk, let me put this out there too.
That way, come, whenever this is over with, we can all come out and hang out, have events, things of that nature, and stuff like that. So, other than that, that's pretty much all I've got with Kiwan here this morning. Unless you've got
it's been a pleasure, Kurt. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Make sure you check out Mr. Barbecue, and we will see you later, my friend. I got to get out and get some barbecue really, really soon because now I'm like, I need some ribs or something.
I appreciate it, Kurt. I'll be there. See you. Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy. Take care. We will see you very, very soon. Have a great day.
Do the same. Thank you.
Out there.
You're welcome.
All right, that was Kiwan Guyton of Mr. Barbecue. He is the owner of Mr. Barbecue at Mystic Oaks Golf Course. As always, with the way things are going these days, we're just kind of tweaking some things here. It's all remote. Things are always interesting in this fine world that we're dealing with. We are here. Papa Bear is kicking butt on this remote feed. Obviously, we switched over to try doing it this way with Zoom this week versus the other way, just because we were having a bunch of issues getting people in. So that worked out well this morning with Kiwan here. We're going to talk about a couple things here while we wait to get Mr. Rick Mertell in here. What is going on? Guessing it. Okay. Just checking on him here. So we'll keep talking. So it's Cinco de Mayo. Give a little shout outs to my good friends out at Fuzzy's Tacos because we should be getting ready to head out there to the patio and, you know, hang out with them, have a few margaritas or some cerveza and have a good party there. Working on Rick. So, this is how the fun is. I love it. Two things that have taken place here as far as the sports world, because there's a lot of the sports world that obviously got interrupted by the COVID-19 and all of that stuff. And obviously even everything got messed up. I'm here remotely doing this and Papa Bear's over there. So we're still working on getting Rick here. But I did hear that NASCAR is going to run a couple races.
Positive view to Ferguson, St. Louis, and the surrounding areas. Amid the current health crisis, there are a lot of you that need to get your message out but have no vehicle with which to do that. In order to help our community, I am proud to offer broadcasting services for those who reach a wide audience from the St. Louis metro area. Church services, meetings that would normally have 50 people or more, and positive messages that need to be spread to many people. Just examples of the possibilities. Until 1st of May 2020, I will offer the raw services, not including editing, for free to those who need them based. Thanks.
Rick, hello and welcome to the Kirk Schilling Extravaganza here on a happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, because we lost a few minutes there and I don't want to shortchange you. I mean, you're short enough. No, just kidding. Let's talk about Synergy. Tell us what you do, how you help people, and you know how you're looking to. Let's start there, and we'll kind of roll from there, my friend.
Okay. Well, Synergy Financial Partners, we're a financial services, education, and marketing company. So we partner with companies that have been in business for 100+ years. I help people in different areas of financial services such as retirement planning, college planning, life insurance, health insurance, just kind of help the middle America people with those things. My biggest passion is probably the life insurance piece of it because we show people about living benefits, life insurance with living benefits, which most people are unaware of. I mean, the typical traditional life insurance has been around for hundreds of years. You pay your premiums every month, and when you die, somebody you love gets money. And that's a great thing, I mean, because we all love somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most people aren't aware of the fact that there is life insurance and has been for probably 20 years, life insurance that if you have a heart attack or if you have a stroke or you're diagnosed with cancer or end-stage renal failure, ALS, dementia, Alzheimer's, a whole list of different things that can happen to you, but don't kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually access up to 90% of the face amount or the death benefit of your policy while you're living. So you can use that money. I mean, if you had a heart attack, depending on what you do, your income's going to drop more than likely a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And your expenses, they're not going to go down. They'll probably go up. I mean, and even if you have health insurance, you still have deductibles and medications and different things that cost money. And this just allows you an opportunity to have a pool of money that you can access besides your retirement plan or your credit card or your family. Something that you can get a hold of some money when you need it. And
Gotcha.
of course, the beautiful thing then is you don't have to pay it back. I mean, it's not a loan. You're just accelerating your death benefit. You're getting that money early when you need it. And then what the effect it has is then when you do pass away, which we all will at some point, when you do pass away, you've already taken part of that, so you don't get as much.
Gotcha.
But it's an awesome thing, and I mean I've been in the business for 25 years, and I just discovered them myself in 2012, and they've been around longer than that. But you know, there's thousands of insurance companies, and right now only about 5% probably offer those living benefits, and they're in varying degrees, and sometimes some companies actually charge extra for them. The companies that I use don't. It comes with the plan automatically.
Interesting. Yeah, that's something that's definitely I can see that being a beneficial tool for you know, everybody's got different situations, but yeah, that's
right.
something if that somebody could definitely look at. I know as Papa's going, oh cool, he's doing well. He's got your info up down on the screen. You can't see it.
Oh,
but
okay.
I got the live feed running over here too. The live feed that went bye-bye for a minute there and then came back on. But he's got your information up there as well. So you say you've been in the business 25 years?
Yes.
Wow.
I know it's hard to believe. I don't look that old, right?
Right. That's yeah, sure. Right. Yes. I mean, yes, of course not. I mean, heck, what did you start when you were 7? No, I'm just kidding.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. Actually, that's a pretty good story how I got into the business.
Well, let's hear it then.
Well, you know, I actually, you know, I'm one of the generation. You know, I'm much older than you, Kirk. But so I when I graduated from high school, which I was the first in my family to do, college was not a thing. You know, it wasn't even mentioned, wasn't even thought about. So I went to work, and I went to work in an envelope factory. And I was there for probably about 15 years when I reached my 30s. And I just, you know, I thought, you know, I could probably do something, you know, more important than this, maybe make more money too. But it was a good job. Mm-hmm. So I went out and I started looking, you know, to try to find something different to do. And everything that I found, I had to start over again. You know, I had to start from the bottom, which is, you know, that's kind of normal, but I wasn't willing to do that. So, and I didn't hate my job. So I just kept on working. I kind of shelved that dream of doing something different. Then my dad, the next year, my dad died. And he died at a very young age, 55 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, he died from complications of diabetes. You know, he didn't really take care of it the way he should have. Mm-hmm. But when he passed away, I have 5 sisters, and 3 of them were teenagers at the time. So I had, and I'm the oldest boy, you know, so I had to step up and kind of be dad. And I had to help him through that process, you know, of burying my dad and letting him go. And it was tough. And I thought after we made it through, we survived, you know, I thought, man, I need to look at my life because I'm the oldest. Men, typically die before women, and I didn't want this to happen, them to go through that same thing, because when my dad died, he had nothing. Mm-hmm. He didn't have life insurance, he didn't own a house, didn't have a car that ran, didn't have any money in the bank. So we all had to, you know, financially go through that, besides the pain of losing my dad. Mm-hmm. And so I took a look at my life, and I, at the time, had been at my job 15 years. I had a pension, I was good at saving money, bought a house when I was 22 years old, but I didn't have any life insurance. Mm-hmm. I only had what they offered me through my job. and it wasn't much.
Mhm.
So I found a friend of mine who was in the business, and thank God for him, he didn't sell me a life insurance policy. He educated me about life insurance. And when he was done, I slid him over as big a check as I possibly could at the time. And a light bulb went off in my head, and I just said, "Can you teach me how to do this?" And he said, "Well, can you teach me how to run a printing press?" I said, "I could teach a monkey how to run a printing press. I've been doing this for years." And he said, "Certainly I could teach you how to do this." I said, "Well, when can we start?" He said, "We just did." So then I started going, learning the things. I had to take classes, get licenses. I got every license known to man, securities licenses, life insurance licenses, did all this stuff while still working 50 to 60 hours a week at the envelope factory. Then after about 4 years, I started doing it, going with him on appointments, learning the business. After about 4 years of doing it, I was making more money in my 10, 15 hours a week part-time than I was in my 50, 60 hours a week full-time. And I was doing something that I felt was more important. I was helping families not be in the position that I was in. So then here it is 25 years later. It's been an exciting ride.
Excellent. That does explain a few things, though, that you had 5 sisters.
Yeah.
It explains a few things about you to me now. I get it now, yeah.
That's where all the kindness comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I was going to ask you a question. What did I do with it? Oh, yeah. I wrote something down here as you were talking. So give me an example of, obviously you have your own personal story there of how, you had that experience and that's what led to what you're doing now. Do you have any examples like, it's a crappy day. We don't get to hang out at Fuzzy Taco and have a patio party today or anything. So give me something feel good. Like tell me a story, something that, obviously you can't reveal names or anything like that, but maybe a client that you helped or something that is just like a moment that sticks out in your career that you'd like to share.
Well, unfortunately, some of the stories that I in my business, some of the stories are you feel good, but then you might not feel so good after you hear the rest of it. But one great example that I share all the time is there's when I first found these living benefits in 2012, I had already been in the business for quite a while. So I went to all my clients and I said, you got to look at this. I think it's a game changer. It's huge. So I went to all my clients and shared it with them, probably about 50%, the ones that could, the one that the situations was right. They either switched to it or they added it in addition to what they currently had. And I had one client who owned a restaurant chain here in St. Louis. There used to be quite a few of them. Now they're down to only one, but everybody knows the name. Maybe I shouldn't mention it. But they switched their insurance. And there was a gentleman, he was about the same age as me. I'm 59 now. And this is a few years back. But, yeah, that's old, isn't it? But a few years back, so he had switched his insurance. And he had, because of the current situation that he was in, he had chosen the term insurance option, which not everybody knows the difference between term and permanent insurance. But just to make that real simple, term insurance is for a time frame. It has no cash value to it. When the time frame's up, the cost can go up and things change, but you have no cash value. But he had his policy for probably about 8 months. One day his wife called me and said, "Hey, Rick, I need to borrow some money from my husband's insurance policy." And I said, my immediate reaction was, "I'm sorry, you can't. He picked the term option. There's no money to borrow." But I said, "So what's going on with you guys?" I said, "Because I thought you were doing well. They had opened a new restaurant even." Mm-hmm. And she told me that her husband had been diagnosed with cancer. So after I got over the shock of it, he was doing okay, but he had been diagnosed and couldn't work, had to do treatments and things. They needed some money. So I said, let me make some phone calls and see how this actually works, because I didn't even know how it worked. It was a great concept, but I didn't actually go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to. It took a couple of weeks. I had to get some paperwork. I had to get some notes from doctors and things, but I was able to get them some money.
Oh,
so
wow.
they paid. Got caught up on the bills and things, and then he started getting better. So he actually requested some more money, because you can take it more than once. He actually requested some more money so that he could do something that was on his bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
And he took his brother to the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, wow.
Something that he always wanted to do. And him and his brother went and had a great time. Unfortunately, months later, things went south and it got worse. And then probably about 6 months later, he passed away.
Mm.
But it was awesome for me. I mean, it was heart-wrenching. He's a friend and a client, to see it happen to him. But it was so awesome to see it work, and that money do what it was supposed to do. So that's the best living benefit story I have. And then, of course, I have many clients that in this past month that use their life insurance in another way, where you can actually have money grow and you can save money for retirement in your life insurance plan. And I've had numerous phone calls with people excited about the fact that within their life insurance policy, when the market went down, their account didn't go down.
Right. Right. Well, and that's something too that when everybody has levels of expertise. My level of expertise, I was able to shower and get dressed today without hurting myself. So that's that kind of covers my level.
Good job.
Yeah, but there are certain things that you really probably need to consult somebody, a professional or somebody like Rick. But no, but the financial world is it's a difficult world, and everybody's situation is different. What works for one person does not work for other people.
Absolutely.
There's so many things. You hear terms right off. God, don't listen to the radio right now, because you got one guy telling you, hey, you need an annuity to keep yourself protected. The other guy saying, no, don't do that, because then you're stuck this way. And then there's living benefits. There's policies. There's insurance policies. There's the market. There's so much stuff out there. If you're not willing to take the time and literally go through all those classes, and literally it takes hours and hours and hours to learn this stuff, you probably should think about consulting a professional. And right now is not, it may seem like an odd time to do it, but it's really not a bad time to do it, because, we're all kind of in almost like a reboot moment here. Everything's weird. Everything's like rebooted. Perhaps you might want to, if you don't have a financial professional in your life that you deal with, you may want to consult one, or you could talk to Rick. Now, I give Rick crap because we've known each other for a few years now through the Northwest Chamber of Commerce, and he's a fun guy. I like giving him trouble, and he gives it right back to me, which makes it fun.
We have matching beards, I see.
Yeah, we're kind of close. I gotta get close, because now this gray stuff that's coming out, it washes out in some of it. And it looks like I'm doing some kind of crazy
oh yeah
thing here. I don't know. But special note, Papa Bear, we got to work on this. Look up here at this little Zoom background I put up. We got to get a hold of Del Taco. I've had their thing up here for the whole time with Rick. We got to work on, maybe they'll send an advertising check in or something. I don't know. What the heck?
I feel some gift certificates coming.
Yesterday something. Look at that. Hey, Del Taco, I'm going to tag them in. Look at this. I got your logo up here. Free of charge. What are we at on time, Pop? I have no idea what's going on here.
We've got 5 minutes before close.
We got 5. Okay, cool. So there you go, Rick. We got 5 minutes. So,
all right.
What else would you like to tell people? Obviously, we have your contact information up there. Let's say, if somebody does want to kind of review where they are in this world and they want to contact you, what would make it easier, not so much on you, but easier on them as far as timing and things like that? Are you able to do things virtually with people right now.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the. I'm so blessed right now because a lot of the companies that I use have been prepared, I guess, in a sense, for this for quite some time. So everything that I do, I can do virtually. I mean, of course, I've learned about 10 years of technology in about the last month, myself. But Zooming is very, very easy to do. FaceTime, Facebook Messenger, just we can see each other. They can see me, see I'm a real person. And then all the processes can be done online, in person, online. And one of the things that
an old dog, new tricks.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And one of the things that I offer to people, with no obligation, no cost or anything, is we do what we call a financial blueprint. And it's just a real simple way that I can kind of take a snapshot picture of their current situation, talk to them a little bit about their dreams, their goals, what they want to accomplish. And then I can, try to put together a roadmap, different things that they might be able to do and, different choices of things that fit them. And then they can, just kind of guide them to make a decision. I really concentrate more on education than anything else because, as you stated, I mean, you have to go to school. I mean, it took hours and hours of, learning stuff, and I'm continuous, we have continuing education. Things change all the time, and it's good to have an interpreter in a sense, somebody who can interpret the language, because to the average person, it's not, a language that they speak.
Very, very true. There's a lot of a lot of terms, a lot of different areas, and even just you mentioned something like an investment. Well, that has how many possibilities of things can you be an investor?
Right.
In? Everything from investing in your son's entrepreneurial exploits to the market, to policies, to annuities, to there's just so much that's going on. You definitely need to consult someone who is a professional and knows these things. That way, you at least get what is beneficial to you, because that's, again, like we've been saying before, cookie cutter doesn't work.
No.
Everybody's different. Everybody wants something different in their life. If you want to leave a bunch of money to your kids, you've got to do things one way. If you want to burn up that bucket and tour the world, you got to do something completely different.
Right. Depends on when you need the money, what you need the money for. What's your purpose?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'll give you about one more minute here, Rick. Anything that you want to throw out there? Obviously, what's the best way to get a hold of you? What? Well,
the best. I mean, the best way. I mean, there's so many ways these days, but Facebook. It's Rick Mertell. I'm the only one. Mertell. My phone number 314-497-6854, and then of course my email, very simple too. It's my last name Mertell@gmail.com.
Excellent. Well, Rick, I want to thank you for coming on again. I knew you were going to be the troublemaker.
Yeah.
We're working on it. About the time we get this all figured out, we'll actually be able to be back in studio again. So keep that in mind too. Down the road, we get back in the normal world. We'll work on maybe having you come into the Wayne's World studio in Ferguson. It's fun.
Sounds good.
I miss it a lot. Rick, thanks a bunch for being on here. Want to thank you. It's Rick Mertell from Synergy Financial Partners, correct? I got that right?
That is correct.
Awesome.
Yes.
So find him on there. His contact stuff has been up on the screen there. So if you want to get that financial blueprint, talk to him, see what kind of roadmap. I just about knocked my computer down. The whole thing is in there. There's not an earthquake going on in Millstadt. I just tried to knock my computer down. Anybody that has any connections at Del Taco, we'll take any kind of sponsorship for this being up there all day. Also want to thank Kiwan Guyton for coming on. Mr. Barbecue down at Mystic Oaks Golf Course in Waterloo. Rick, you ever need some good barbecue, come see my boy, Mr. Barbecue. He is the bomb. He's having that event on May 16th from 12 to 6 at TR's Place, another local establishment that's right here. It's about 5 miles from my house, so to put that in the calendar. I got about 60 seconds left to go here. So, again, thanks to Kiwan. Thanks to Rick for being on here. I just started it last night, the Kirk Schilling Extravaganza Facebook page. Make sure you go on and like that to keep up the events. I'm going to go back, start sharing the old episodes so people can find them. Don't forget to like Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio on Facebook. Don't forget to check out the website, check out the podcast library, as well as the other shows that are on there. And without further ado, St. Louis, stay safe out there. We love you. We will see you next week. Thanks, Rick. Take care.
Thank you.
Now go. Let's go. This is the blooper reel now.
All right.
There will be an outro. Thanks again for coming on, Rick.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You do the same, my friend. Take care.
Still there, Kirk? Okay, hold on. Still there, Kirk?
I am.
Cool. Next week, I am planning on going to Ferguson and staying there. So, see how that works. Would love to have you there on Tuesday. Oh, wait a minute.
Do that.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
That's good. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, I had to upgrade to Zoom in the middle of the show, which is a pain in the tuchus. But
I didn't even think about it. I should have let you use mine because I already had it. But
well, either way,
is what it is.
we are now Zoom Pro. So
Zoom Pro. There we go.
we are Zoom Pro. I had to not shorten. I had to delay your audio about half a second to make it sync up with your face today.
Wow. I would not have thought that my face was ahead of my mouth today.
Well, it actually was.
Wow.
However, it was a lot better than last week's VMix, so that's a good thing. We have learned again.
Awesome.
So,
Very cool.
anything
I'd like
else
to hear
going on?
I am going
My name is
back
Scott Owen, and I'm a
into,
retired veteron of the United States
I
Air
couldn't figure out
Force.
what the hell was
I'm the
going
general
on
manager of Ferguson
with
USA
Venmo last night. I was sitting there and I'm going, what the hell, where it wouldn't let
The mission
me.
of this internet broadcast station is to bring
And I finally figured it out.
Ferguson,
I had
and the
one email
surrounding
address
areas.
tied to my
Amid the current
envelope
health
card.
crisis, there are a lot of you
Okay.
that need to get your message out.
And so
have
I
no
need to
vehicle
create a
with which
different one
do
from
that.
like my other email
Or to
address
help
and
our
hook it up to my
community.
own card. And then
I'm
I will.
proud
Yeah,
to
they're
offer
really weird about
broadcasting
that.
services for those who reach
Yeah,
a
it was just
wide
like
audience from
I couldn't figure out
St.
the
Louis
hell I
metro
was
area.
doing wrong.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Church services,
wrong?
meetings
And
that would
then I
normally have
finally
50
figured out what the
people or
hell.
more.
It was like middle of the
Positive
night, and I'm like,
messages
okay, I'm
that
not
need to be
getting back
spread to many
Yeah.
people
doing this.
are just examples
all
of the
good.
possibilities.
Kirk, I just appreciate you being on.
Until 1st of May 2020.
And then
I will
have you
offer
got?
raw services,
Are you doing the
not including
lunch
editing,
networking?
for free to
Yeah, I'll
those
be
who need
there.
them based on my time
Okay, cool.
constraints. In the meantime, I will also broadcast
will,
any changes you make
I
to
will
business
definitely,
practices.
See
i.e.
you
change to
there.
the drive-through only
I am
for
working-
restaurants, closure, etc.